Do you want to know where you shouldn't drive? In this video, we're looking at the states with the highest rate of auto fatalities here in 2023. There are many things that contribute to a state's auto fatality rate: impaired driving frequency, bad roads and infrastructure, high speed limits, helmet laws, and many others. We're going to look at the state's rate and how many people they lost in 2022 due to auto fatalities. Don't really pay too much attention to that because it varies widely. Obviously, California is going to have 10 times more than, let's say, Rhode Island, just because of the amount of people and the size of the state. That being said, today's video, we're looking at the states that offer you the best chance of not making it to grandma's house for the holidays. Get it? Got it? Good. Let's take a look. Number 10, Kentucky. Kentucky is a pretty dangerous place to drive. I mean, first of all, weather, and then they've got a lot of mountain roads. They also got a lot of people that like to drink Kentucky bourbon and hit the highway. In 1835, Kentucky established the State Board of Internal Improvements, the first highway department in the country. Kentucky has 80,000 miles of roads, bridges, and highways. And for the most part, they're in pretty good condition. Most of their road fatalities have to do with, like I said, the mountain roads and heavy drinking and driving. In 2022, Kentucky lost 806 people to auto and motorcycle accidents. Both automobile and motorcycle accidents are combined in this number, so I'm not going to keep saying it over and over. Kentucky has a rate of 17.9 fatalities for every 100,000 residents. Number 9, Tennessee. Tennessee shares a lot of the same things that Kentucky has when it comes to road fatalities. A lot of winding country roads and a lot of heavy drinking. Like all states, federal, state, and local governments share the financial responsibility for Tennessee's public roads, but it's been 45 years since Tennessee has borrowed money for road construction, which is kind of abnormal. This has kind of created a problem, though. They're not, spending as much money on roads as they probably should. They're actually ranked 5th in the nation for the least amount of money spent on road construction and safety. In 2022, Tennessee lost 1,327 people to road fatalities. That gives them a rate of 19 per every 100,000 residents. Number 8, Oklahoma. Approximately 1/3 of Oklahoma's driving surfaces are considered to be in poor condition, which amounts to around 4,300 miles. Oklahoma has 670 centerline miles of non-toll interstate road. When measured for roughness, almost 50% of Oklahoma's interstate rates as fair, mediocre, or poor, compared to the national average of only 32%. In case you don't know, poor road condition affects a lot of different things. One, insurance rates of a whole state, obviously accidents and fatalities, and damage to your car. In 2022, Oklahoma lost 765 residents to automobile accidents, giving them a rate of 19.1 fatalities for every 100,000 residents. Number 7, Alabama. Alabama once had wooden roads. I'm not even kidding. I guess they didn't expect it to last that long. In 1849, the first plank road in the country was built by Daniel Pratt. It was almost a mile of road from Pratt's cotton gin to the Alabama River. It was constructed of large pine logs, sawed lengthwise, and laid round side up. I mean, I would think they would put it top side up, maybe just do a little digging, put the flat side up. I guess he decided to go with the round side up. In 2022, Alabama lost 983 residents to auto accidents, giving them a rate of 19.5 fatalities for every 100,000 residents. Number 6, Louisiana. New Orleans has the absolute worst roads I've ever been on in a major city. I'm not even kidding. I've been to a lot of major cities, and they're by far the absolute worst. They also seem to have an overabundance of dirt roads in this state. They're also famous for their potholes. Some say Louisiana's roads have potholes large enough to swallow a Buick. Are Buicks still a thing? Do they make Buicks still? Let me look.
A few moments later.
Look at that, they do. Oddly enough, there is a Buick dealership probably 2 miles from my house. I drive by it all the time, had no idea. I'm not a car guy. Now, there's a lot of reasons for Louisiana's road conditions, A lot of it has to do with funding. The Federal Highway Administration says that Louisiana's pavement failures is likely due to a combination of traffic, moisture, and climate. Other factors include out-of-date transportation system and not enough state and local funding. In 2022, Louisiana lost 972 residents in road fatalities, and that's 21 fatalities for every 100,000 residents. Number 5, Montana. Montana ranks 3rd in the nation for alcohol consumption, and that plays a big part in their road fatalities. I mean, honestly, 1 is a big deal, but some states are a little bit more than others. All states do have drunk driving fatalities. I'm not saying Montana's the only one. Besides the drinking and driving, Montana's got a lot of wide open spaces and a lot of dirt roads. This can lead to a lot of different problems. Up on the western part, they got a lot of mountain roads too, near Glacier National Park. That can get pretty deadly, especially if you're dumb enough to start driving there in the winter and you're not a local. Locals got those roads down pat, but a lot of people head up there and it's just not a good combination. In 2022, Montana had 239 road fatalities, giving them a rate of 21.6 per every 100,000 residents. Number 4, New Mexico. As if New Mexico doesn't have enough problems already, this is just another feather in their negative cap. And this state has a lot of feathers in that cap. New Mexico has over 25,000 miles of unpaved road, which are made mostly of dirt, sand, clay, and stone. More than half of New Mexico's major locally and state-maintained roads are in conditions ranked poor or mediocre. This is interesting. New Mexico's rural roads are some of the worst in the country, costing each driver $767 extra per year, meaning damage to the car, extra fuel costs, higher insurance premium. Overall, it's going to cost you an extra $767. In 2022, New Mexico lost 481 citizens to road fatalities, giving them a rate of 22.7 for every 100,000 residents. Number 3, Arkansas. Arkansas apparently is the place you go when you want to drown while in your car. Just looking at the stats, I think this is a very popular way to go for Arkansans. They rank 3rd in the nation for people drowning in their car. But they do lead the country in people crushed by boulders, so there's that. Arkansas's public roads were built from the early 1820s to 1907. Early travelers called these roads roads to nowhere because they were farm-to-market roads that didn't connect to any of the towns. In 2022, 693 Arkansans lost their lives to automobile accidents, giving them a rate of 22.9 fatalities for every 100,000 residents. Number 2, South Carolina. Not surprised at all. I've been on South Carolina roads and those people drive like frickin' idiots. You'd think they're all a bunch of NASCAR drivers. The appropriate distance between you and the car in front of you is 2 to 3 inches, and a little bumping and rubbing is perfectly acceptable. South Carolina has some of the worst back roads I've ever seen in my life. South Carolina lost 1,198 citizens to automobile accidents in 2022, putting their fatality rate at 23.1 for every 100,000 residents. All right, before we get to number 1, if you really want to help out this channel, there are some suggested videos at the end of it. This is something YouTube's really pushing these days, and if you have time, we'd really appreciate it if you'd watch another video. All right, on to number 1. And number 1, Mississippi. Yes, Mississippi is at the top of another negative list. That's so strange. It never happens. I don't know what went on here. Mississippi has some of the worst back roads in this country. It's like the back roads of Mississippi where logic and common sense go to die. There is one great thing about Mississippi. Now, this is either the beginning or the end of the Great River Road. The Great River Road is an official National Scenic Byway that follows the same path as the Mississippi River. The route is 3,000 miles long and can technically be driven in 36 hours straight, meaning no breaks, no spending the night anywhere, 36 hours of driving, you could follow this road all the way to the end. I drove a small portion one time from St. Louis to just south of Memphis. I always told myself I was going to go back and drive the whole thing one time. Never did. I watched this, I don't know, it was like 60 Minutes, one of those shows where they profile Americans or whatever. And this older gentleman had driven it like 60 different times for a girl. He was from La Crosse, Wisconsin, and she was from Natchez, Mississippi. Or the other way around, I forget. That man had devotion. I picked a girl up from when she graduated from Madison, Wisconsin. She graduated University of Wisconsin-Madison, and I drove her back to California. Worst trip of my life. Somewhere around Salt Lake City, I'd honestly thought about just getting out of the car, leaving her the car, and walking to the nearest airport, coming home. Best thing ever happened, though. We finally make it to Nevada, and we had to go. For some reason, her family owned some property out in the middle of Nevada outback. The mom asked us to stop by and take a look and see what's there. We pull up to where we think the property is, and there's a little outhouse there. We thought it was just an old outhouse. We're sitting there out of the car. An old man comes out of the outhouse. Big white beard, boots on, and boxer shorts, and a roll of toilet paper in his hand. Looked at us and said, "You might not want to be downwind of that." We didn't say a word. We got in the car and started driving again. She's all teary-eyed. I worry about that old man. I worry about the hair in my nose. But back to Mississippi. Not a great place to drive. They lost 772 people to road accidents in 2022, putting their rate at 26.2 for every 100,000 residents. All right, that's today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. Now go out, have a great day, and be nice to each other.